In the heart of Düsseldorf, an empty building is about to become home to a bold new endeavour.
Das ist ein Hotel gewesen.
This used to be a hotel. We've only had it for a month, so there's still a lot of work to do.
There are some really unique rooms here. It definitely has a luxurious feel.
We have 40 rooms. We'll meet on the 6th floor.
Rooms for people who have long been without a home.
Jede Etage.
Every floor is a little different. Different carpet, different color scheme.
Everyone has their own bathroom.
Small but fine.
Jede Person.
Everyone should have an idea of which room they'd like to move into if we decide to accept them.
But this new home comes with a few strings attached.
To me, this whole project is an adventure. And since I'm an optimist, I can't even imagine it ending badly. It's going to be so good.
Karin Jungjohann is launching an experimental project. She hopes it will help refugees enter the workforce quickly and become taxpayers.
I'm 63 years old, I'm the happy mother of 3 grown-up sons, and I've been in a wonderful relationship with my husband for many decades. I originally worked in the film industry, but I've been in the social sector for more than 9 years now. I love coming up with new ideas with other people, creating a vision and then figuring out how to make it happen.
Her idea: 40 refugees will take up residence in a vacant hotel, sharing the space like roommates. At the same time, they'll prepare for the job market and find employment as quickly as possible. The city of Düsseldorf has rented the building and is funding the project called House of Friends.
This project could save an enormous amount of money in the future by reducing the need for refugee housing. Our goal is to ease the burden on the city. At the same time, it's a win-win situation, because the people we're helping gain confidence and build a better future for themselves.
Karin Jungjohann sees great potential in Germany's newcomers. She believes they can contribute a lot to society given the right conditions and the chance to pull their own weight. Rooms here are available for 1 year. Once accepted into the programme, residents must pay rent and commit to 3 things. They will help renovate the hotel, learn German, and go to work in Düsseldorf's restaurant industry, where staff shortages abound.
This isn't some kind of a full-service nanny program. In fact, it's the exact opposite. We simply want to give people a push, meet them where they are and encourage them to keep moving forward. In Germany, that path has to lead to a job, your own apartment and independence.
The House of Friends is officially open as of today. Karin and her team of staff members and volunteers will meet and interview the first applicants.
Hi. Hi. I'm Karin. I'm glad you're here. What's your name?
Saliu.
Okay, here are the others.
Saliu is 24 years old and comes from Guinea.
If you don't understand something I say, I have the master of the French language right here.
I speak English too.
That's great. Most people from Guinea speak French very well, but not much English. Do you remember when you came to Germany?
Yes. 4 years. Almost 5.
Almost 5. Then I guess you came in 2019, right?
End date 2033.
Okay, you have a work permit and no residency restrictions, so you can live anywhere. Would you rather work in a bar, a hotel, or what would you be interested in?
For me, a hotel is good. Or just a normal restaurant. I prefer working in the kitchen. but I can also work in service.
Okay.
Okay. Möchtest du hier?
Right now, Selyu is spending his nights in a refugee shelter. Many applicants have lived in such accommodation in Düsseldorf for years, without employment. At House of Friends, they're expected to take charge of their future, and they must be open to living in a diverse community.
Wir sind ja eine Gruppe, die dann hier
We'll be living, learning, and working together as a group. Is it okay with you if people in this house have different religions, are LGBTQ, or simply have a different way of life than you do? Is that okay? I mean, tolerance.
Ist das für dich okay? Weil Toleranz, das...
Yes, that's completely okay with me. We're all human.
Ja.
We're all human, exactly.
Over the first few weeks, Karin and her team conduct more than 40 interviews.
Es ist so, dass
You need to be willing to find work in the restaurant or hotel industry.
Gastronomie oder Hotellerie eine Arbeit zu finden.
Okay, my goal is...
A place to live, that's his only wish.
Wunsch. Ja, das ist zu
That's
wenig
not
für
enough
unser
for our project. A place to live is something many people are looking for in Düsseldorf, but we're aiming for something much bigger.
Viel Größeres.
Out of all the applicants, only 12 are initially selected, even though the project has room for 40.
Um die Ecke. Guten Appetit.
Enjoy your meal.
Da kommt
Hey, here they are. Hi, Zaliu. How are you? Welcome to the House of Friends. Come with me. I'll show you your new room.
Hallo.
Hello. Welcome.
Hallo, Walid.
Hi, Walid. Hi, Mariam. So glad you've come. Welcome.
Dass ihr da seid. Willkommen.
Valid is 36 years old. He fled Iran 8 years ago. He says he made part of the journey from the Turkish town of Çeşme to the Greek island of Chios, paddling inside a car tire, even though he can't swim.
Ich war in Flüchtlingsheim gewohnt und
I was living in a refugee shelter.
die Projekt Hispi, House
of Friends came there and told me,
waren dort.
you can have your own room,
Gesagt, kannst
and we will help you find a job.
einziges Zimmer haben und wir suchen für dich Arbeit.
But he also wonders whether he'll succeed here. Having his own room is just the beginning. His long-term dream is to have his own apartment. He wants to be independent. Settling into a room of their own, complete with a private bathroom, is a new experience for many former shelter residents. What they all bring is the determination to start over. But many also carry the painful memories of their journey to get here. Gulfidan is one of the first residents. 5 years ago, she fled war-torn Sudan. Her first stop was Egypt. There she attended university. Now she wants to become a teacher in Germany. She's now 26 years old. Gulfidan is teaching herself German. Though she constantly tries to contact her family online, she says the Sudanese government keeps shutting down internet access.
Mein Bruder,
My brother,
jüngeren Bruder, meine Eltern,
my parents,
meine Mutter ist Anwältin.
my mother is a lawyer, and my father is a pharmacist.
Ich habe nichts von ihnen
I haven't
gehört.
heard from any of them.
Ich möchte einfach
I just want to stay optimistic.
Auf Englisch.
In English, we say, no news is good news. No news, no news.
Keine Nachrichten, ja. So.
She hasn't had any contact with her parents for months.
Also, ich habe schon als Lehrerin gearbeitet vor 4 Jahren.
I worked as a teacher 4 years ago at both a high school and a middle school. Those were my students.
Ich habe vor 4 Jahren
4 years ago, I worked very hard, saved money, and learned German. Then I got the opportunity to come to Germany.
Ich diese Chance nach Deutschland zu bekommen.
Unable to stay on in Egypt, she applied for a visa to Germany. 15 residents have now moved into the building. 25 rooms are still empty. Renovations are taking longer than expected, and finding the right participants has proven more difficult than anyone anticipated. It's been an exhausting summer for everyone involved. Still, the show must go on. The date for the official opening was planned far in advance.
Es ist ja vielleicht so,
Maybe a year from now we'll say it didn't work. A pilot project can start from the wrong assumption, but then at least we'll know why.
Aber dann wissen wir warum.
I think you have to try things, because if this works here, it can work somewhere else too. Then we can show people how it was done.
Dann beschreiben.
All team members to the round table. Kafia is still getting ready. There she is. Mamadou.
Heute ist ein wichtiger
Today is an important day because we're opening our doors to show people what we're trying to build
was wir
here.
hier vorhaben.
In just 2 hours, 80 guests will arrive. Everything has to run smoothly. Expected guests include the city's mayor Stefan Keller, the city's commissioner for integration Miriam Koch, members of the press, and prospective employers. The residents will demonstrate that they're ready to take on jobs in the hospitality industry.
Yes, we've met.
Ist ja eine Verantwortung.
I take this responsibility very seriously and I want to deliver. I don't want people to come back later and say, oh great, here's another project where the money was just wasted.
It's very important to us to establish a pilot project that promotes integration and empowers refugees. The opportunities are there. Now they have to be seized, and we want to provide the support to make that happen.
The city of Düsseldorf has secured funding for the project for the next year and a half.
Who's still got a free hand? Yeah, there we go.
Tasty.
The House of Friends project receives plenty of praise that evening, but over the coming months, Karin and her team will have to prove the concept works. It's no easy undertaking for Karin, who has another full-time job. For the past 9 years, she's managed a language school for migrants. There, she has 4 full-time employees and a roster of volunteer language teachers. It's here where the idea was born. People need more than German lessons if they're going to become part of German society. Karin is constantly on the move, looking for jobs for the hotel's residents. At Düsseldorf's storied Schumacher restaurant and brewery, owner Thea Ungermann says she is willing to hire refugees on a trial basis.
Of course, we're happy to give people a chance if we see enthusiasm, ambition, and genuine enjoyment of the work.
Exactly. And I have to say very clearly that for some participants, those workplace skills still have to be learned.
Düsseldorf's largest hotel is also willing to hire refugees from Karin's project for breakfast service and housekeeping. But before referring anyone, Karin has to make sure each applicant is genuinely motivated. Bashir hasn't completed an internship yet.
One more thing I wanted to ask. If I speak with the hotel's HR manager, are you really interested in working in housekeeping?
Yes.
Okay, great.
22-year-old Bashir dreamed of becoming a professional soccer player. He came to Germany from Guinea when he was 16 without his family. He spent months on the run. In Germany, he completed basic schooling, but he dropped out of a nursing assistant training program.
They didn't arrive here on vacation flights. People tend to overlook that. They survived incredibly difficult journeys, experiences that leave many people so traumatized they can't work at all. They're trying to overcome all of that.
Everyday life in the house is organized through regular meetings with all the residents.
Salio, ich sehe dich.
Salio, I can see you. Honestly, it's like kindergarten.
Wie im Kindergarten, wirklich. Ich sitze seit 5 Uhr.
I've been sitting here since 12:55 and now it's 1:07. We all have responsibilities. The list says to be completed by everyone. But nobody has checked anything off.
Aber da ist gar kein Haken.
And there's already been a violation of the rules.
Someone smoked in one of the rooms. That's an absolute no-go.
We've realized we need extra training in the kitchen. We'll keep at it until everyone gets it right.
There are also the usual communal living issues. Cleaning, tidying up, cooking. As in any shared home, it's often the same people doing all the work. Meanwhile, some new residents have moved in. Others couldn't handle the project's demands. Walid, one of the very first residents, has moved back into refugee housing.
Okay, everyone.
Soccer's over.
It's break time.
Half time.
Pause.
Break time. You can keep playing in a minute. It's half time. We're heading down to the basement. Saliu, Bashir, Mohammed.
Today's job is cleaning out the basement.
Rein, rein, rein.
Come in, come in. These are really heavy. I want them lined up in a row, like a bench.
Post mit deinem Finger.
I'd keep that one. It's practically brand new. It came with the washing machine. Keep it. Don't throw it away.
I've been in Germany for 2.5 years and I don't have many contacts here. So I can't speak German with German people every day. But for the past month I've had to speak German here because we only have one language in this house. German. For paper? A hole punch?
That's a hole punch. But it's from about 1950. So out.
Mohammed is 34 years old and fled Iraq 3 years ago. He's placing great hope in the project to help him find work, make friends, and become fluent in German. He just finished renovating his room.
Come, Gulfidan. Come see my room.
This is your room.
Yes, it's my room. I think I got the suite with the balcony. Look.
Am wichtigsten Teil eigentlich.
I like the balcony. The central station.
Yes, that's the main station. 4 minutes on foot when it's not raining.
Actually, I like rain.
Me too.
I love winter. It's wonderful. I'm from Sudan, so it's extremely hot.
In my home country, winter is always very harsh. We get lots of snow, lots of rain.
Really?
Yes, you can look it up on Google.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
My hometown.
I've only seen snow here in Germany. Last year was the first time I'd ever seen it.
Also, erstes Mal Schnee sehen. Ich war total.
I was so happy.
Also auf der Straße, die alle Menschen sind.
Everyone else on the street was grumpy.
Und ich mache ja Fotos.
But I was taking pictures.
Everyone here has left a lot behind, and everyone is trying to make sense of a new life. Sharing these experiences with each other can help, and is a key part of the House of Friends concept. Bashir is on his way to work. He now has a job at Schumacher, Düsseldorf's iconic restaurant and brewery.
I'm going to work. I'm a dishwasher there.
Bashir started as an intern. 3 months later, he's been officially hired. Now he has to stick to his work schedule, 8-hour shifts with breaks, 5 days a week. He can't afford to let his motivation flag. He'd love to play soccer again, regularly, like he used to with a club. But that doesn't fit with his work shifts. For now, Bashir's focus is on his job.
Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it isn't. Just like any job, same routine.
Now a permanent member of the kitchen team, Bashir has the chance to build a future here at Düsseldorf's oldest restaurant and brewery, which has stood in the heart of the city for 175 years. Owner Thea Ungermann knows how hard restaurant work is. She's been working here since childhood, helping her parents and grandparents. When it comes to hiring, her standards are high.
You're working in a place that's part of Düsseldorf's cultural heritage. You have to understand the philosophy of a traditional brewery restaurant. Things move fast. Hospitality demands flexibility. And you have to be willing to adapt. That's something people have to bring with them. That's a starting point. And if, as employers, we see someone has more potential, we're certainly not going to stand in their way.
He's very reliable. He understands quickly, learns fast, and he's doing an excellent job.
James is my favorite chef. We get along really well. Sometimes when I'm hungry, I ask him for food, and he always makes something for me.
Meanwhile, all 12 House of Friends residents have completed internships and gained their first work experience. They're all learning German as well. Mohammed is preparing for an important exam.
This is my
B1 certificate. I passed it with a very good result. Here's the list. I already took the B2 exam once before, but I didn't pass. So now I'm repeating the whole course.
Failing the exam was a setback for Mohammed. But Karin and the team encouraged him to keep going. Now he's trying again.
If you want a good life in Germany, the language is the key that opens every door.
Mohammed and Gulfidan have become friends. Today they're heading out together to Hispi, the language school Karin founded 9 years ago. Gulfidan, who worked as a teacher in Egypt, now volunteers there as an instructor.
Hey, Marco.
Hello.
Marco,
this is Gulfidan. She'll be working with you today. Maybe you can tell her what you'd like help with.
Sorry, my German still isn't very good.
That's okay.
I need this certificate.
Und was brauchst du? Jeder von
What do you need?
hat,
Everyone has their own unique journey.
ja. Diese Stelle als Lehrerin zu arbeiten.
Working as a
gibt mir immer
teacher
dieses Gefühl, ich bin
gives me the
Schauspielerin.
feeling that
Und ich habe
I'm an
viele Fans.
actress with lots of fans.
Ja, meine Schüler und Schülerinnen, sie sind mein
My
Fan.
students are my fans.
Ich mag das zu sehr.
And I love that feeling so much.
Not all 40 rooms at House of Friends are occupied yet. Interviews with new applicants continue on a regular basis. Some residents have moved on and chosen different paths, but for those who remain committed, real change is happening.
Das ist ja das mega Positive.
This is exactly the wonderful part. Everything we hoped for is happening. People are finding jobs. Suddenly their German is improving, and this incredible group dynamic has developed. Once the first residents start working or finish an internship and come home after 8 hours with stories to tell, the others start thinking, I want that too. I truly believe this can work. I never stopped believing that.
Dass das möglich ist.
Everyone has the right to freely develop their own personality. If I want to, I can walk down the street in my pajamas in the morning.
In addition to their other activities, the residents regularly attend integration workshops. Today's topic, Germany's basic law. The discussion has turned to freedom of religion.
Women may wear a headscarf, but they don't have to. They have freedom.
Allah says the hijab is mandatory.
I know. I wear a headscarf too. I don't have a problem with that. But Allah never forces anyone.
One at a time, please. You can see that religion is diverse. It has many different interpretations, and people understand the same faith in different ways. We have 1 or 2 women sitting here who have chosen not to wear a headscarf, and they're still Muslim. Our system is different. We believe people should be free to live as they choose, love whomever they choose, and practice whichever religion they choose. That's what our basic law is built on.
There have been issues with the shared kitchens. People keep leaving messes behind. Now the residents have come up with a solution to the problem.
So what should we do, Mariam? Is this better? Great. Then we'll put one here.
Zu meinem persönlichen
To my complete surprise and honestly to my horror, everyone voted unanimously to install cameras in both kitchens. That way, there will be evidence if one of our messy roommates strikes again.
wieder sein Unwesen getrieben hat.
It was a democratic process. The majority voted.
Volker, could you tilt the camera down a little? Perfect. Tighten it there. HD quality. Excellent. Everything looks great.
For the next several months, life in the shared house runs smoothly. New residents continue to move in, but then something unexpected happens.
Zwei Bewohnerinnen und ein Bewohner.
2 female residents and 1 male resident came to me in confidence on Wednesday. They told me that another resident had been saying certain things, speaking badly about me.
Also schlecht über mich spricht. Meinte,
apparently on several occasions, both privately and in group conversations, he claimed that House of Friends is a place run by the Illuminati.
Ein Ort der Illuminati sei. Also es ist alles eine.
The whole thing is disturbing.
Ja, wie soll man sagen, verstörend ist das alles.
Karin and her team must act. The resident spreading the rumours has to leave, and the team arranges psychological support for him. It's a very stressful period for everyone involved. Even for Karin, it's a bit overwhelming.
I do a lot of this voluntarily. Nobody is forcing me. But with all this energy comes a huge amount of determination. When I set out to do something, I want to see it through to the end. I'm not the kind of person who says, let's do this, and then nothing ever happens. Empty talk has never been my thing.
Wann musst du heute los?
At home, Karin's husband Ingo is a port in the storm.
Hat auch nichts geschrieben.
It really dominates our lives. I'm always saying that Karin is. There are phone calls on weekends too. Or she'll meet with someone because there wasn't enough time during the week. So yes, it takes up a huge part of our lives. I'm usually the one who puts on the brakes. Not in general, but in this situation I try to calm things down a little. But I support her 100%.
Aber unterstützen auf 100%.
It's important to me to nurture my friendships and my relationship. I try to notice when Ingo is getting a little fed up. And then I deliberately make time just for him. It has to be intentional. And for the past 3 or 4 years, we've also made it a tradition to spend 4 weeks every spring somewhere in southern Europe. The little bit of work I do there is very relaxed. I might have 1 call a day, that's nothing.
1 call a day isn't accurate.
Okay, fair enough.
Karin thinks she's switching off, and that's already progress. But the 1 call a day part is a delusion.
Still, it's a lot less than when I'm running around Düsseldorf all day.
Before long, she's on the move again, heading to Düsseldorf City Hall. Today, she'll be giving a presentation on the project's progress and results for the mayor and the city's commissioner for integration.
I'll start with where we are today. 20 residents are currently employed, 2 have part-time mini-jobs, and 2 are still very new and are focusing on their language courses.
This is also a political issue that comes up again and again. We tend to require people to reach a certain language level before they're allowed to enter the workforce. Personally, I'd rather let people work first. They learn the language on the job. Your experience seems to support that idea.
Absolutely.
A major success for Karin and the team. The city of Düsseldorf has extended funding for the project by another 6 months.
In the beginning, there were only a handful of us. Now there are many. It's starting to feel like a family photo album.
Gulfidan has since left the project, but today she's back for a visit.
I've completed internships in breakfast service and housekeeping, checking guest rooms to make sure everything was clean and in order. It was a good experience. Right now I'm looking for work. I had an appointment with the employment agency and they suggested there are other options, like working as a substitute teacher.
Gulfidan has decided to follow her own path. She wants to fulfill her dream of becoming a teacher in Germany. If she had stayed in the project, she would have had to continue working in the hospitality industry. Walid, one of the original residents, is back. At first, the project's expectations were too much for him. 9 months later, he's ready to try again.
House
of Friends gave me a great opportunity to come back to the project, to work and to live here again.
Then he came back and he said, Miss Karin, everyone here calls me Miss Karin, Miss Karin, do you think there's room for me again? I asked him, have you really thought this through? Because we can't keep going back and forth. He said he had. And he really came back a changed person. He's contributed so much since returning. And now he has plans. The people with plans are the ones who move forward. That's been our experience.
Thanks to the project team, Walid now works at Düsseldorf's largest hotel. Back home, he worked as a salesman.
Housekeeping.
Walid has proven himself. The hotel where he works just offered him a permanent position. It's an important step towards an independent future.
If my salary is enough, I can rent an apartment. But unfortunately, it's very difficult to find housing in Düsseldorf. I've found many apartments, but they're too expensive. I can't afford them with my salary, but I keep looking. Every day I'm searching.
Finding a job and a place to live is one challenge. Managing everyday life is another.
One thing we completely underestimated was how many people already had debt when they moved in. We first had to figure out how to deal with that. You can't help someone find employment without also helping them deal with their debts, so they can eventually become debt-free.
Cell phone contracts, consumer loans, and rent for refugee housing often leave residents burdened with debt. And then there's the ongoing issue of keeping the house in order.
Hello,
good evening, everyone. We've said this 1,000 times. Please, regular trash is regular trash. We're not the cleaning crew.
Wir sind nicht die Putzenmann hier. Jetzt.
I have various responsibilities, but the most important one for me is the trash. I always check the recycling bins and the regular trash.
Mit Geldmülltonne und Restmüll.
People not in here. Sometimes it's really hard because I'm tired of repeating myself. Every week it's the same thing. Please do this, please do this, please do this. It's really not that difficult. People can learn to do it themselves.
Man kann das selbst lernen.
Come on, Team Transport. I'm your cheerleader. Let's go.
Sometimes everyone just wants to take a break, forget their worries, and have some fun.
Great game.
Soccer is my dream. It's my passion, you know. I've been playing ever since I was a little kid.
Do you play here?
Yes, sometimes with co-workers. But I don't have a team right now. It doesn't work with my job. When you work early shifts and late shifts, it's impossible to commit to a team.
One apple strudel, one sausage platter, 2 pork knuckles. Change one side to fried potatoes and cabbage salad.
Bashir is still working at Schumacher Brewery. He's worked his way up, from dishwasher to the kitchen. Today he is helping plate desserts. He's embraced Düsseldorf's culinary traditions, like many of his international co-workers who have followed a similar path.
This is Düsseldorf Pillekuchen with apple syrup, and that's Sauerbraten with raisin gravy, another Düsseldorf classic. I've worked at Schumacher for 30 years. I started here when I was 17 or 18 years old. My first job was washing dishes for about 6 to 8 months. Then I became more interested. I liked the work. I liked my co-workers. The boss and the owner were wonderful, so I stayed. Now I'm a Düsseldorfer.
Das war unser Beginner-Winner-Team. Ja, die beiden, die sind zuerst hier gewesen, noch mit Samir damals.
Walid has now moved into his own apartment. Today he's back for a visit, showing his partner Andrew where he used to live.
I still need to buy a wardrobe.
Ja, super.
Walid, one step at a time.
Ja. Ich zeig dir mein Zimmer.
I'll show you the room where I used to live.
Ich habe früher gewohnt. Ja.
It was a nice room. It still is. Oh, that's mine too. I forgot. Yeah, it's good.
Ja, alles gut.
Were you sad when you were living here?
Oh.
Very sad. Every day.
Jeden Tag. But
I've started a new life. A new life in another city.
Andere Stadt. Ja.
Now all we need is heating. Then we'll have everything.
Nur heiß.
Walid and his partner have driven back to Essen. Back at House of Friends, everyone else is gathering for a group dinner.
Thank you. It's nice when people help out.
1 year has passed since Karin and her team launched their project in this vacant hotel. Some concepts had to be abandoned. For example, the idea that residents needed to find jobs only in the hospitality industry. But the core concept appears to be working. Mohammed now has permanent employment with a security company.
It's simply not true that the people who come to Germany don't want to work or aren't able to work. I don't think there's any better proof than what we've achieved here. Despite all the challenges, people have found stable jobs with full benefits that pay into the system. They're able to build independent lives because they've also learned a lot about this country.
Weil sie auch viel gelernt haben über das Land.